Hi, everyone. Welcome to GM Roulette Daggerheart. We're on episode 3 of 3. So we are switching the GM position from Mark to me to close this thing out. And now I get to ruin everything on accident that everyone put together. It was great. Yay. In all seriousness, let's go ahead and dive in. When we last left off, we were just exiting or fleeing the scene of the Black Goal. The crew had successfully escaped with the snowworms in the cargo on a rowboat and rowed our way to shore at the Pavoport destination. Just in time to realize that our primary cargo in that box that we rescued to get on the ship in the first place was left behind on the ship that we just left from. Oopsies. Indeed. And before we kind of cut over, one question I forgot to ask Mark. What's the old fear pool at, my friend?
Oh, the fear pool. I believe the fear pool was at 2 last time I checked.
At 2. Excellent. I'm going to get out a real dice for this. I have mine as well. Why don't we do some quick introductions for who you two are? So I'm get my dice and go from there.
All right. Do you want to go first, Cyberbro?
All right, no problem. Hello, everybody. I'm Cyberbro. Today, I'll be playing Roy Three Eyes. He is a three-eyed, ridgeborn giant brawler with the Juggernaut subclass.
Very nice. And hello, I'm Mark, thank you that catch me out. And today I'll be playing Percival, the underborn Qatari rogue Catman. My cat is not here to show you what he looks like, but just imagine an orange cat. Catman. Orange Catman.
And for this episode, and I guess for the rest of the game, the character I was playing, Maximilian, will be stepping into the background as one of your allies. So he's an NPC. Your other ally, if you could call it that, is Frog Smasher, of course. The best snowworm, proven in battle. Yeah. All right. So we kind of turn as the group sort of makes their shore. Everyone's catching their breath from this dramatic moment. And then who do we think remembers? Who's the first to remember? Who has the highest intelligence of the group?
Not me, I don't think.
Let's see. I've got a -1 to knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge, right? That's what I'm looking for. But let me pull out. Just in pull open that quick thing.
My knowledge is +0.
No, you got me beat.
Yeah. Well, you're used to taking things, so what's the difference between that and realizing that you're missing something?
Exactly.
So as we manage to get to a shore, it's then that you realize you're missing something really important, like the whole point of the entire trip.
So it goes, oh. Did anyone remember to bring the package with us? You know, the reason we're here? No?
Ooh.
Roy, where was it last? Maximilian says nervously.
Well, maybe under my bed on the ship. Because I didn't want anyone to get to it, so I put it under there.
Right.
It seems like we've goofed.
That's not good.
Well, surely they'll let bygones be bygones and allow us back to collect our package. We appeal to their humanity.
might be best if we're, sneaky about it.
Oh.
Perhaps we should make this a vote then. All in favor of doing this the polite and direct way?
Roy raises the hand. And
Maximilian will raise.
He'll pick like Frog Smashers. I guess worms have tails. His tail up. Frog Smasher votes with me. He's a noble creature.
Percival crosses his arms. You guys are no fun.
Maximilian, his wings never having gone away, goes, very well. If we're to appeal in person, it's best not to appeal as a threat. I'll simply, and it kind of takes into the air, he says, I'll simply go to the head of the ship and we can talk this out. And I'm sure this will work out just fine.
You go on your own to the head of the ship?
Well, we don't want to appear as a threat, yes?
Maybe we have an urchin of some kind deliver a letter. Urchins are good for that.
Huh.
I don't want to see you get hurt, Maxie.
I'm sure it'll be fine. There's something I haven't told you much, but you see, when I'm like this, it's hard for those to reject me in this position. Allow me to try, friends. It's the least I can do.
I believe in you, Maxie.
He will take to the air, and we see him, again, the ship's getting closer and closer, so it's nearing a point where it's going to moor, and we see Maximilian, and all of a sudden we hear like and we see a net come out, and it catches Maximilian, and we see him fall straight down onto the ship's deck.
Mm.
Well, better go rescue him.
Yep, appears to be a rescue operation. Sometimes you do your best and your best isn't enough.
I'll be honest, lasted longer than I thought.
Right? You did very well. I was very convinced. He was in the air, wings were fluttering, and then the neck thing happened. But up until then, he was doing very well.
Yep.
It was very much a ah! Yeah, you can hear the thud from the shore.
Well,
Well,
let's do this. Percival is gonna sneak his way through the shadows towards the ship.
One more time, I didn't record it. What did we say the fear was at? You know?
2, if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
2. All right. So, the plan here, we're going to wait until the ship moors, or are we going to try to find our way on the ship along the way? What's the game plan here?
We could wait till it docks and then attempt to sneak onto the dock where they're at and try and find our friend and also maybe the package, especially if they've taken it off the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a best idea versus like diving back into the water. And then
Now-
that gives me time to release the worms. But I've still got a whole bunch of worms with me.
Gotta release this invasive species
Yeah,
into the environment.
it's survival of the fittest, which is the law of nature.
Now, safe to say, this is an actual port. So this isn't a place where where the ship would be moored out at, out at sea. It would be actually brought into the docks. I think safe enough to say. I won't make any sort of duality roll for that to find out if that happens. It's probably going to take, you probably got a good, 10 minutes before it docks. Anything you want to do while you wait for it?
Yeah, I think Roy will look down at the boxes of worms and begin to release them. My friends, I've won you your freedom, along with Frog Smasher, Maxie, he's been captured, and Percy, well, Percy's somewhere. Live your best lives and chase your bliss.
How tall are these things? These are just tiny still, right? None of them had the rocks.
Yeah, none of them have had the rocks.
Yeah. So we just see a bunch of them just moving at real micro speeds, out into the town.
Just inching along like an inchworm.
Yes, very slowly.
It would bring this tear to my eyes.
Eventually, the black gull moors. We see it, or docks. We see it pull up beside the dock, and out comes some of the crew. It's quite the event. You realize just how much of the crew is, how big the crew is. I'm seeing it this way.
I think with that, Percival would turn all three eyes, and he would say, "All right, I think I have a plan. I can probably sneak onto the ship to see if they still have the package, and/or if I can find Maxie. If you see them come out with Maxie and like chains or whatever, you can either, if you think you can find an opportunity to take them on, you can do it, or you can just kind of follow them."
Understood.
What do you think?
I am pretty large, so if I follow them, they'll probably see me. I could give Frog Smasher. Now, I don't normally like to do this because this is performance enhancing. I can give him one of the little green rocks, and we can charge them to get Maxie back. That will cause a big enough distraction for you to more easily sneak on board.
I mean, that could work.
All right.
I mean, I was just gonna disguise myself.
Well, as they say, chaos is a ladder, and you're the best climber I know.
It's true.
All right. So it sounds like Percy's going to do a solo mission here, trying to sneak himself aboard.
He is going to activate his Uncanny Disguise spell,
Okay.
which, when you have a few minutes to prepare, you can mark a stress to adorn the facade of any humanoid you can picture clearly in your mind. While disguised, you have advantage on presence rolls. The number of tokens equal to your spellcraft cost trait on this card. You use an action while disguised, spend a token. So I have 2 tokens? I think finesse is my spellcraft.
And it's advantage on presence rolls.
Yes.
So we'll start with the presence roll. Once you're,
Alright.
because there's no real test to see if it's activated, right? So
Yeah, it just activates.
Yeah.
All right. He adorns the disguise of a sailor and begins to sneak his way on board.
Right. I think the contest and why I'm going to get you to make this roll is as you're going back on board the ship, there's a man with a clip, one of the crew, clipboard. He's like, "Hey, you." He's like, "We just ordered everyone off the ship. What are you doing back on?"
Oh, I was instructed that there were some important captives that needed to be transported off the ship. Bird or something.
He's barely paying attention, but why don't you give me a presence test
All
Part of the
right.
with
combat.
advantage?
Yes, with an advantage, which is a d6. That is a 20 with fear.
Ooh, 20 with fear. Fear pulls up to 6 now. Okay. So he's barely paying attention. He's just like, "Right, well, just be quick about whatever you said you were doing." He didn't quite catch the detail.
Goes on past him. Hopefully before he notices.
Yep. You are back on the ship. Now, you remember Roy just saying that he thought maybe it was under his bed. That involves going down into the ship, and that might be a little more difficult because certain orders that have been made. And right now, you watch as what is his name? Tarlock, the second ship. Wait, he was on the ship, yes? What was the name of the ship guy?
The
The
ship
Goat Man.
captain, Goat Man. I don't think I gave him a name.
Yeah, okay. You see the goat man. He is, because Tarlok was the guy way back in the old town. I mean,
Yeah, on the other.
So
Yeah.
the goat man, we see him. He's got Maximilian in the net, and he's kind of pushing him down. You know where he's likely to go. You were on the ship for a while. He's likely taking him down into the hold.
All right. Got to sneak down, follow him. But he's also going to try and look for the package because that's also important.
Okay. We're gonna get you to choose a priority here. You know where Roy's, you know where Roy stayed, where his bed would be, and that was the last place theoretically was. Or alternatively, you could try and follow along and chase. You could chase after Maximilian, who's being taken to the hold.
Yeah, I think he'd go after Maximilian because he's like, he doesn't want to leave his friend.
Okay, priority is Maximilian. Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, I think we need something to represent your stealth. I'd say probably finesse test, if that makes the most sense to you. Put on some.
Oh, that's a 17 with fear.
All right, 17 with fear. Okay, so as you're following along, everything's going smoothly. And you remember this too late as you step on a board that creaks. And you remember walking past that board quite often while you're on crew. And the goat man stops and he kind of twists around behind him. You, of course, are an expert, so you fold into the shadow and you are not seen. But the two guards that are with him, he says, "Guards, keep the door, just in case." And he starts into the hold with Percival. Now, you know they've got shackles here. This is where they still, this is where they keep anyone who's going to be in prison.
All right, that is 2 actions or 2 actions. Actually, is that 2 actions or is that 1 action and a something?
Which, sorry?
Would you say that counted as 2 actions? Because I can only keep my disguise up for 2 actions.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's fair. You had, there was a finesse rule and then the presence rule. Yes. Yeah, it's just a...
All right. I think in that case, knowing that he's probably not going to be able to do this on his own, he'll probably need to get 3 eyes. He's going to try and go look for the package and make a note of where they have taken his friend.
Yeah, so you know where Maximilian has been taken now. You go to, and with little trouble, you manage to make your way back towards the cabin or the crew bed where Roy was, which is gigantic, I imagine. Why don't we get Cyberbro to describe what exactly, was left behind at Roy's place of sleep on this ship for, what, a week?
Yeah, so for about a week of Roy staying there, the bed looks very nice. He's folded the sheets, he's tucked them in. The only issue is that as a bigger guy, he's acquired a number of boxes that he's just kind of stacked together to give him like a bed frame. So you'll see like a small regular sized person mattress, she's tucked in, and underneath that is a large number of boxes, enough to cover his whole body. So he's got a number of boxes underneath the mattress.
Okay. So we hear there's a number of boxes underneath the mattress. I guess the question is, the box actually there? I'm going to look to Cyberbro to make a duality roll for me here.
All right, no problem. Let's see. Is the box already actually there? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Ah, man. Fear. Fear is in the box. Specifically a 13 with fear. That's what's in the box.
Oh no. In this case, I'm going to say that you get to the box and you open it, Percy, just out of your own curiosity. And whatever, because remember, this is one small enough for him to have flown it back onto the ship, because they left it from the wagon when they were running away. Nothing's inside it.
I think he goes and like lifts up and goes, maybe it was an empty box. And then being like, no, the weight doesn't match. That's not
Now,
good.
did we ever establish what was in the box prior?
I don't think it was ever established.
We never established it, what was actually in the box. Something was in it.
I'm gonna let Mark decide this, because I think Percy has snooped in the box once, despite Maximilian's orders. So what I'm keeping in mind is something not too heavy and probably is, not the length of a sword. Can't be anything like that. What do we think is in the box?
I think it was a book. It was a valuable text of an ancient age that was being transported to an avid collector.
Excellent. So then the question begs, where the hell did it go?
Someone took the book.
Where next, Percival? What next, if you have an ability?
What next? I think it's at this point he's probably going to sneak his way back to Three Eyes to discuss a plan of how they're going to find out what happened to the package and rescue their friend.
Okay. I'll get you to make one more finesse roll. Or if you want to go off the ship via water, in some way that's, less problematic, I think you can take a finesse route. If you want to simply walk out the ship, probably a presence roll.
I will do a sneaky sneak.
Okay.
Hey, oh, it's an 8 with hope.
Okay. An 8 with hope. Well, make a note of your hope. And as you go to find a way off, you see that enough of the ship's is against the dock where you could probably just sort of hang and jump off. But as you go to flip over the side, that same guy with the clipboard notices you in the distance, says, "Hey, wait, and then you have a chance. You can still get off. But I'm going to say with that failure, I can't remember if I have to spend fear to do this or not, but I'd like to suggest that you have one stress as we end up off the show.
I'll take it.
Yeah. You manage to hang and drop off gracefully, but everyone's shouting and stuff. You've been made. So you make your way. Now, did we establish where you and Roy were going to sync back up?
I think we're meeting up nearby the docks, just a little bit away from the boat.
Yeah, within visual distance of the boat. Because Roy's watching with his 3 eyes for Maxie to be taken off in chains and probably pelted with various food rubbish as custom.
Indeed. So you hear commotion and you hope, well, maybe Percy's been made, but at least he's coming back. Percy, you didn't even bother to take did you take the box?
Yeah, he'd take the box. He'd have it like tucked under his shoulder.
Good news. You see Roy, you see he has the box. Bad news. Well, no Percy. Or no Maximilian, sorry.
Yeah. So I got good news and bad news and then bad news again.
Okay. How about the bad news again first?
They took Maximilian and he is now in their hold. So we need to go break him out.
Maxie won't do good in there. He has delicate hands. What's the good news?
Do you want to know the good news is I have the box.
All right. That's half the thing's done. It's not even noon yet. We're doing pretty good.
There's still bad news.
Oh.
Bad news box is empty.
Oh. I gotta say, Percy, that is very disappointing, but you at least brought the box back and valuable intelligence. So we are a more effective team for what you have done. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, but I think we're gonna have to break onto that ship, and then break our friend out and try and find out what happened to the book. I mean, the
Okay.
package. It may or may not be a book. I don't know. Why would I know?
What can I roll to kind of, let's see, would that be maybe instinct or knowledge? Yeah, probably instinct. I want to roll instinct to see if I caught Percy snooping in the box, because Maxie said specifically, don't look in the box.
All right. I'm supportive of a roll. I'm just thinking through. I need to quickly look at the Daggerheart sheet. Is there like a insight one I wanted to say?
Well,
Is that-
you get instinct, which is perceive, sense, and navigate. Knowledge could be recall, analyze, and comprehend. So maybe instinct or knowledge, I would say. Because they're both processing information, those two. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think in this point, if you're okay with it, Percy is a pretty good thief. And I think you can make a roll. I'll let you choose which one, but it's going to be difficult because Percy might not want to have been made anyone aware. In fact, I know he wouldn't. So,
all right. Well, I'm going to ride the lightning and let's do instinct. Okay.
do you have any
that
experience that would apply as well?
No, most of Roy's experience is knowing which side of the trees that moss grows on to go north. So he's not, that's not going to be good here. But I rolled a 13 with fear. Hooray.
Okay. Because it's more of a PvP type roll, I'm not going to raise the fear pool for that one. I'll stay at 7. But I think in this case, no, you don't remember Percy ever. You remember him trying to snoop around the box a couple times, but whenever you were around, he never touched it. Weird that he mentioned it was a book, though, but I guess it could have been book shaped, sized. A book. You're like, a book could fit in there. It's a weird assumption. Yeah.
Exactly. I trusted Percy with my giant-sized handful of gold. Why would I suspect him of snooping around in the box when we're told not to?
It's a good question.
Yeah. All right then, Percy. So do we just a full frontal assault on the ship? Or something
mean, we could-
sneaky in?
I think if we're fast, we can get in, knock out some people, get our friends, question somebody about if they took the book.
All right.
At this point, a good amount of the ship's crew have left the ship, right?
Yeah, you'd say like probably half or more. Yeah. Those left behind would be to maintain it and ready it for the next, departure. If everyone else is going off to probably drink and make merry at the port. So they'll be effectively useless. It's,
All right. There's no time like the present. So I'll follow your lead, or you can hide behind me and I can just run up the brow, across the gangplank or whatnot.
Hey, you can do that. I do better in the shadows.
Okay. Come on,
I'll
Frog
be your
Smasher. We're going back on the ship.
Let's go.
all right. He's actually pretty big now. How big is he? Yeah.
I think we got
well,
back down to regular size.
yeah, they
after-
shrink back down after
Yeah.
the effect wear off.
Okay, so it's temporary. All right.
Yeah.
Understood.
When I imagine the worms, they were about the size of they were pretty decent size, like the size of a Subway sandwich. About that,
Foot long.
Yeah.
foot long, yeah.
Right. That's fair. All right. Yes. So the
Lots
three of
less
you,
stuff
Please sponsor
Subway,
us.
the middest of sandwiches.
It's not Quiznos.
All right, folks. What's next? What's the game plan? Going right up the way?
Yep, right up the brow. Yeah.
Charge.
Okay. So to do this, right, I think this is something athletic, yes? Yeah. All right. What do you propose, sir?
Let's see. Okay. So first, I would just want to establish with my 3 eyes, do I see anybody along the brow or bridge to the ship? Like walking off, or do I have to like knock anyone out of the way?
There is that guy with the clipboard.
Oh yeah, he's getting knocked. He's getting knocked into the water. So yeah, what I want to do is I want to run up with Frog Smasher on my shoulder, and if he tries to get in my way, I'm going to knock him into the water.
That's fair. I think as you start up the way, he's barely paying attention as he was, but you're big, so you make a lot of noise and you're rattling the thing. And he's about to say, hey, there's no running on the, and he looks up and he sees the giant. Let's see where this goes.
He looks up and sees me. You know what? Roy would try to speak to him first. So he'll yell to him as he's saying that, if you know what's good for you, you'll take a swim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me some kind of presence roll here, I think, because it's kind of intimidation, right?
Yep. Okay, let's go. I get a 4 with fear.
Okay.
Pardon me, sir. Excuse me.
As frighteningly big as Roy is, he's also very polite and sounds like a bit of a pushover. And so he says, now you giant. He's like, you are with the culprits. Why don't you stand there? We'll detain you and we can take you along with that winged friend of yours. You halt right there.
I apologize for what's about to happen next. So yeah, he's going to backhand him out of his way.
Okay. Just because you haven't got to roll something that I imagine Roy's pretty good at, why don't you give me a roll to represent that swing? I think it's only appropriate.
Okay, no problem. So I think that should be strength. Do that. Come on. Okay, cool. It is a 12 with hope.
12 with hope. Okay, that's going to do it. So you managed to, what do you, just backhand him?
Yep, just backhand him. He's apologized for the inconvenience.
Yeah.
But Roy just backhands him out of the way.
I think you're big enough where he goes right off into the water.
Your current circumstances is a direct reflection of your choices, sir.
All right, Percy, the way's been cleared. What are you doing in the meantime as Roy's not cleared the way?
Percival, as Roy's shadow kind of comes up behind him, are there anyone else on the deck?
Yeah, there's a couple people, they haven't quite reacted to what just happened, but they're about to, and you know they're about to.
He's going to throw some knives.
Okay. We will move to that. I'll give this, let's play this out in a simple attack, but I think we'll move to a bit of a combat from here. Because we haven't done that yet.
So he's essentially aiming to throw the knives, but spinning them in a way so that they, like, butt first, like, hits the people in the head to attempt to knock them out.
I love it. Okay. Just give me a roll to reflect that.
Sure thing. I think that would be finesse for attack. Yes, for my daggers. Let's go. Hey, 18 with hope.
Okay.
18 with hope. Like, this is simple work for Percy. So why don't you describe what you do to two of them in this thing? Actually, if you spend a hope, I'll allow it to happen to two. Rather than
I'll
one.
spend a hope.
Yeah.
I'll spend the hope I earn. As he, like, kind of, we see, like, the two of them, we see, like, people that are, like, close to the edge of the ship. And he just kind of appears out of the shadow of Roy and throws the daggers on both sides. They spin in the air and they, like, both the butts of the daggers hit them each in the head and send them tumbling off the side of the boat.
Okay. Awesome.
You gotta get a, what's it called? The Wilhelm scream in there.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move into the flow of combat. I'm going to, since I have this nice big fear pool, use a little bit of it. I'm going to steal initiative.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to activate an adversary. So we see one of the big crewmen is supposed to be like the, I don't know, Cyberbro, you're the sailor. What would be like an enforcer on the ship? That's what this guy is. We see he's a big old dude.
Yeah, the master at arms, or the bosun.
Yeah, we'll say it's a bosun. Yeah, he's just all sorts of muscle as you see him. I was just trying to see if I could quickly look up what the races are again to come up with a race that's giant. You know, one of the bigger ones, not giant. What else we got? You guys fluent with the Daggerheart race ancestries?
You got human. I think there's like orc in there, but maybe it has a different name. I'm not necessarily fluent.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. We're gonna say that this is an orc-looking guy. He's big and muscular. Looks like he's, not only does he hit the gym on the regular, but he probably takes something performance enhancing to make sure that he's the biggest of them all. So perhaps even those stones. Maybe that's why they had him. It's his private stat.
Crunching on rocks.
A Goliath? Yeah, we can say it's a Goliath.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. All right. So he's going to show up. And I think out of the threats of Percy and Roy, I think he sees Roy as the bigger threat. I'm going to let Roy do the tank job that he's probably meant to do. He's going to come up and spending another fear, I spend a fear to activate him. So it's 2 fear going down to 5 fear. He's going to come up and with a scimitar, swing it at you. Halt, intruder. Ah!
All right. My evasion is 10.
All right. Now I roll a d20 as a DM. Right? Not 2d12 to see if this works.
Yep.
A 7 plus 2 is not enough. You feel, right? You managed to move back just a little bit, and we watch the blade go in slow motion right beside you.
It's that training.
Yeah. We see another figure. He has a grappling hook in his hand. He's smaller. He kind of looks like a raccoon guy. And we see him go, and he hooks. He's going to try to, so I'm activating 3rd fear down to 4 fear. He's activating to try and get Percy with the grappling hook. Try to tie him up. So, Percy, what is your evasion, good sir? Are you looking it up?
Oh, there it is. I was looking the wrong part of the sheet. 13.
Okay. So very hard to hit. We're going to see if he's lucky.
Extras.
Nope. It sails. You see the grappling hook sail right over your head. You duck low. Pong. All right. And with that, I don't remember how we determine initiative between like initiative normally, but it's back to player spotlight regardless. Oh, range. It goes like range, sprinting, move, and then people close range, right? So
yeah,
we'll assume that Percy is just faster. So we're going to give the spotlight to Percy and then to Roy.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So how far away is this guy from us?
So there's 2 of them. There's the big guy that's squared off with Roy, and there's the one that just shot a grappling hook at you, trying to hook you and hold you, and he's a raccoon-looking guy. Got the big Goliath and raccoon guy. The raccoon guy is at a distance. That's the throw of the grappling hook.
Distance.
He looks more finesse like you.
Could I close the distance so that both of them are considered within very close range?
I don't think, based on where they are, they're in 2 different positions. So you can't close on both of them, but you can close on one of them.
All right, I'll close on the range guy.
You dash forwards towards the raccoon. No. Are you able to act at the same time? Move with close range and attack. Sprint with far range. Yeah, it says agi roll for that. I don't know why you'd have to make an agility roll, though. But it says a sprint with far range. Agility roll.
I will instead use Nightwalker.
Okay.
Because I can use Shadow Step, which means I can move from shadow to shadow when you move into an area of darkness, or shadow cast by another creature or object. I assume I'm using Roy's shadow. I can mark a stress to disappear from where you are and reappear inside another shadow within far range.
Okay. Yeah, so you're moving from a shadow to one close to this raccoon guy.
Yeah, to the shadow of the raccoon guy.
Yep. So I will count that as move within close range and attack, because you're skipping the far range to be close range already.
Right. And I'm considered cloaked, so I get my sneak attack damage.
Awesome. All right.
So let's do the attack. I have 2 weapons, so I can. That's a bad roll. That's a 9 with fear.
A 9. Ooh. This guy, not quite as fast as you, but close, manages to just suck in and slide away from your strikes. Kind of almost like that anime, like slide backwards. He managed to do as we cut over to our player spotlight on Roy.
All right. So Roy's opponent has brandished a weapon against him. So Roy is going to pull out his battle axe and attempt to strike at the guy trying to hit him.
Battle axe comes out.
Yep.
And swing. All right, give me the roll.
All right. I think this is going to be a strength roll. Captain.
Also, I'll note you can use minor actions like shout and use a consumable and things like that. I don't think we probably have any consumables, but if you do, just let me know. So,
yeah.
Let's see. I actually do have a minor health potion, but I rolled a 15 with hope.
Yeah, that hits for sure.
All right. And then, let's see. What's the damage on this thing? So D10 plus 3 physical damage.
Nice. All right. So we'll get you to roll that D10, right?
Yep. I'm looking on Demiplane to see if they have. Okay, here we go.
You have a normal dice on Demiplane. By the way, we're using Demiplane for those that are watching to play this game, and this is our very first time ever playing it, so we're adjusting as we go.
Oh, man. I rolled a 5, 2 on the dice, plus 3 from the weapon.
Okay. Well, he's a big guy, right? So, for example, for you, how much would that have brought you down? Because that would have eaten into your stress.
I have 1 stress marked. So, I mean, I have a 7. My minor damage is a 7, so that wouldn't have gotten through my minor damage. So
these guys aren't you guys, though. These guys are not quite as big. So you tear into him good with 5 damage total is what you did, right?
Right.
Yeah. So and he kind of stumbles backwards. By the way, was that with fear or with hope?
The trait roll was with the hope.
Okay, good. Make sure you guys keep track of your hope too. So I think the fear pool's still at 4 right now. Memory serve. Okay. All right. I'm going to steal back the spotlight. So
No.
I can't remember, but I think there's a way for you guys just to like keep going. I don't know if that's like in your own order. And I only interrupt as a GM like when things were happening. When I use fear to do so, I can interrupt, activate enemies and make other things happen dramatic. But otherwise, it's kind of like your show. I don't know what you do. I think there's ways for a player to be like, I do this thing, then this thing, then this, like, but I don't remember what it is out of the player actions that triggers that. For now, we won't worry about it, but if one of you wants to look it up, you're welcome to. In the meantime, I'm going to spend a fear, okay, to say that you can hear a whole bunch of figures responding from underneath. It seems that people are going to come out onto the deck now. Probably the rest of the crew. You'd expect this. You are, after all, charging onto the deck. That is that fear, and then I'm going to spend one more fear. And I'm going to have the little raccoon guy pull out a dagger and try to stick Percy with it. Oh, as long as you succeed with hope, you can keep going, by the way, with your actions in the future. Yeah. So if you succeed with hope, yeah. You know what? Did you guys both succeed with hope last time?
I did.
Do you remember, Percy? No? Okay. Okay.
I failed.
So we'll go, since I haven't acted yet, we'll go backwards to Cyberbro. Forget the thing about the people below deck because I haven't activated that yet.
Okay.
We go back to you. You succeeded with Roy with your attack. You succeeded with hope, so you can keep going.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike at him again with my battle axe. So we'll roll another strength roll. One. Okay,
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What's up?
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a 10 with hope.
10 with hope. Okay. It's going to hit.
All right. 1 second, because I may have an ability. After making it, I'm not rolling damage roll. Okay. So I'm going to make my damage roll. So that's a D10 plus 3. Okay. So for whatever reason, my damage is the color of my little tab for damage is red. I got a 6 plus 3, so I have a 9 total. But I don't know why it marked it as red. It didn't do that last time.
Don't worry about it.
Probably not. But I can do combo strikes. So what it says, after making a damage roll with a melee weapon, but before dealing that damage to the target, mark a stress to start a combo strike. When you do, roll your combo die and note its value. Then roll my combo die again. If the value of the second roll is equal to or greater than your first roll, continue rolling until the latest combo die roll is less than the roll that preceded it. Then I total all rolled values and add that amount to my weapon's damage. Ooh.
Okay.
These values cannot be adjusted by features that affect damage die. So essentially, I roll 2 d4s. Yep. I roll 2 d4s. If the second one rolled is equal or greater than my first roll, then I can continue rolling it and adding that to my damage for 1 stress.
Why don't you just go ahead and tally that on your side? Go ahead and roll and tally just yet. In the meantime, I'll just note, so pretend Muse confirmed, and I think this is accurate. When you roll and succeed with fear, it automatically grants me back a GM spotlight, right? And then when I do a GM spotlight, unless I spend a fear, it goes back to you guys, right? But as long as the player spotlight keeps going, I wonder if you guys are just able to determine rather than like, because there's not an initiative score on your sheets, right?
No.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure what happens is you guys just get to decide sort of who goes, like who you're passing the torch to next. So that's what we'll do, you know? But yeah.
Okay. I've tallied up my rolls. It was only 2 dice, so it's not very much. So it was a 6. So a 6 plus 9 is 15. So for my 1 stress, I've done 15 damage this round.
Ooh. Down the giant goes with your. Do you want to describe your cleave attack, or your combo attack for this thing?
Yeah. In contrast to Roy's normally docile and very polite nature, he just butchers this guy with the battle axe. He swings it down. It cleaves into his shoulder. He comes back up, and with his next strike, it comes right down over the top of his opponent's skull. It's very brutal.
Rough. And I think this is, but combo attack, it confirms you making multiple sort of strikes, right? So maybe it's like the butt of the axe, you know, down your Gimli mode.
Yeah,
All right.
Gimli.
Big Gimli energy. All right, we cut back. I interrupt with the idea that there are more coming, and at the same time, Mark, I'm interrupting with a second move to activate the raccoon guy as he pulls a dagger out and tries to stick you with it. Your evasion is 13, correct?
Yes.
Another failed roll. So, and you manage to slide out of the way, and the spotlight passes back to you, to Percy, for your action.
All right, let's go. He's gonna attempt to do a retracting claws, make an agility scratch with a melee attack. On a success, they become temporarily vulnerable. All right, that's a 14 on hope.
14 and hope. All right. Well, that's going to hit. 13 is what you needed.
Very nice.
Or 12.
And then
Sorry,
I
12
get
is
to
fair.
Yes. And then I get to do a dagger attack. As they are vulnerable, I roll with advantage. Right, advantage. Let's do this. Ooh, that's a 21 on fear.
A 21 on fear. All right. All right. So you do succeed. So go ahead and narrate this for me, and then it will go back to the enemies or back to GM Spotlight.
He goes forward with one hand that's a claw to kind of force him to go back as the claws extend. Before he comes back up with the dagger on the other side and just attempts to get him in the chin, essentially, with the blade.
And he kind of topples over. And just at that point, we see the goat guy and a number of his sort of entourage come out onto the deck. We see that they, for the most part, are wielding flintlock guns. And we see one, I'm going to spend a fear for one more action. We see a gun aimed. High is going to be Cyberbro, so low. Percy, you have a shot coming at you. Your evasion is 13, yes?
Yes.
Ooh, I got a 19 that time. 20 total hits. All right, I'm going to quickly grab the dice out here. Apologies. And while I do this, as we determine damage, we're going to cut over. Well, actually, I'm just going to say hello to our raiders. We had Commodore Zed pop in, as well as the Lord Baron. Welcome, both of you, friends. Good to see you. We are playing a Daggerheart 3-part GM Roulette. This is my session to run. The other two have run their sessions. And I'm going to quickly do some damages.
Oopsie, no.
Yeah. Really good news. I rolled a 1 on a D10. So you take 3 tier, I believe stress, right, is where it comes from first when you still have stress, or does it go right to your health?
I think it has to go over your minor damage to affect your health. Like anything below your minor damage doesn't go through.
All right, what is your minor damage, person?
Minor damage is 6.
6? Ooh. Okay. Severe threshold, mark 3 HP, major threshold. So the fact that roll really crappy is good for you guys.
Yeah. So I only take 1 HP of damage, I think. It's under my threshold.
Yes. I think that's right.
Right, yep. It's under your threshold, so that would be 1 HP versus between your minor number and your major number would be 2, and then severe would be 3 HP, so it would be 1 HP.
Less than major threshold, mark 1 HP. Oh, wait. Yep, that makes sense. All right, we figured it out. Yay. So at that point, dealing back to 3 fear pool of 3, we go back to, well, we'll give it to maybe Roy in this moment.
Yeah. All right. So Roy, having just butchered the other large man on the ship, will look over to the goat man captain and point his battle axe in his direction, and will say, tell your men to yield. We'll take our friend and whatever was in that box that we brought on board that someone here stole, and we'll be leaving. If not, you'll meet the smiling end of my axe.
Okay. So you're doing this at what distance now? You're not closing distance, right?
I'm not closing distance, so we're on the deck of the ship. I would assume that everyone would be close, but not in melee. Let me check something real quick.
Yeah, there's several different distances, right?
Yeah, I think it's like 10 to 30 feet. I think
I'm
everybody's.
going to suggest for Roy, though, because Roy just tangled with this big Goliath thing at the front. I think you are just over 30 feet. I think you're far right now. I think Percy's very close. Or no, sorry, Percy's close to them because they're using guns on Percy. They're not super close either. So they've just come out from underneath, from below deck. But you are far, my friend.
Okay,
So,
no problem. I'll proclaim that and start to close the distance. So I want to move from far into close.
Okay.
I am trying to negotiate. And then, lay down your arms or face my axe.
you can shout that. That's as a minor action. You can relay your words as you're moving.
Right. Good to go. But I guess I would have to wait till the spotlight goes back to them to see what their answer is. Or...
No, I think in this case, I'm going to go ahead. Since you're just moving the action, I think you're going to make a presence roll. And we're going to see. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Come on. Boy. Let's see. I don't have any experience that's going to help with that. Okay. 22 with fear.
Okay.
Not a critical, though.
All right. The men look at Roy nervously, and they just see the giant of a man that Roy's just taken down, or the Goliath figure he just took down. And they're like, just classic goons are like, well, should we surrender, boss? Perhaps we should get out of here now. And the boss is like, and again, the spotlight cuts over to me, and the boss is like, oh, fire. And with that point, two of them are going to fire at Roy. Poor Roy. Because this guy has a command over them. He also has intimidation over them. So they're reluctant. I'm going to actually give them a -2 penalty. What is your evasion, Roy?
All right. Roy's evasion is 10.
Okay. So first roll, 19. Second roll, 19. Okay.
That hits.
Yeah, it
He's
hits.
got armor of 3. I don't know. As far as the armor, I think the armor eats some of that, doesn't it? Or are we saying no?
Yeah. Using armor score equals available armor slots. Once per attack, a player can mark 1 armor slot to reduce incoming damage down by a threshold. So why don't I roll the damage each time, and you can tell me.
Okay.
So I rolled 4 damage. I add 2 to that, so that it is 6 damage.
Okay. That's the minor damage threshold. It does not meet it, so that's 1 HP. So I can't
1
really
HP.
reduce that.
Okay. And then the next roll. 9. So this one will be an 11.
Okay. I'll use one of my armor slots to reduce that to the down below the minor damage threshold.
So you take 2 total HP for both, 1 for each shot. 1
Yes.
1 HP and 1 HP. Okay. And then what are you left with HP wise? Just so I have a good track of that.
I have 5 HP left.
5 HP.
Yep.
All right. And you rolled with hope, yes?
I rolled with fear. It was a 22 with fear.
Was it 22 with fear?
Yeah.
And then they shot you. So I'm passing it back. Automatically, Mark, it is your go, Percival. You see that Roy's just been shot twice. He's doing okay, but, you guys can only take this kind of assault for so long as more and more figures. You see the goat man certainly seems to be the one in command of these folks. He is like, he's there with his own sort of cutlass in one hand and flintlock gun in the other. He hasn't acted yet. His men are surrounding him. So if you go into close range with him, the others are also considered close to you.
All right, I will go into close range with him. And you say the others are very close?
Sorry. So yes, the others would be very close. Are you going into melee? Is that your melee? So it's melee, then very close is 5 to 10 feet. Close is 10 to 30. Far is 30 and to 100. And then
He's looking to get to very close for his guards that are surrounding him.
Okay. Very close, 5 to 10 feet. You close in.
Yep.
All right. And are you going to do that in any special way, or are you simply going to use your action as a move within close range?
I'm going to use Nightwalker again. I'm going to attempt to Shadow Step.
Okay. Do you have to roll anything for that?
I can. It's a spell casting of finesse, so I can roll finesse for it to see if it.
Why don't we do that?
All right.
Is that what you're supposed to do, or is this supposed to auto happen?
I think it depends. I think if it comes up to a point where it's conflicting with something else, you would roll your spell casting.
Gotcha. Well, in this case, I don't think it needs to. So you can just simply, we'll count this as move within close range. That's what you do.
All right. I do that, and then as the fellow guards are in very close range, I'm going to use Rain of Blades. Spend a hope, make a spellcast roll, and conjure throwing blades that strike out at all targets within very close range. Targets you succeed at take 1d8 plus 2 magic damage using your proficiency.
All right, let's see it.
All right, so
Go.
let's spend a hope.
Make it rain.
Down to 3, and then I do Rain of Blades.
There are 4 of them, counting the goat man. Or sorry, there are 4 of them and the goat man, is what I meant to say.
And the goat man. Oh, it's a 17, but with fear.
17, but with fear. Okay, well, that's going to hit.
All right, they take 4 damage.
4. Okay. 4. 2 of the men drop outright from this. One of them looks really badly wounded. The goat man basically, he looks wounded, but he certainly looks like he takes a bit more than the brutes that are around him.
Yeah.
So he looks wounded, but not like, like you guys have been wounded, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And as it cuts back to him, Mark, he takes his cutlass, dropping the flintlock, he takes his cutlass, holding his hand to the wound you just delivered to him. He strikes back at you with a cutlass.
All right.
13's your evasion.
13 is my evasion.
16 plus 2, 18. And this is not a D10, so let me just do this. D8. 4. You take 6 damage. What is your threshold?
My threshold is 6.
Okay. What?
Well,
There's
I
no
would
equal
take
to. I think so. Do you have armor points?
I'm gonna spend. Yeah, I'm gonna spend an armor slot.
Okay. You spend an armor slot and you reduce it down to 1.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. With that, I've done my action. I pass it back to Roy.
All right, cool. Realizing that the goat man has chosen agony, Roy is going to mark a stress to use deft maneuvers. Once per rest, I can mark a stress to sprint anywhere within far range without making an agility roll to get there. If I end this movement within melee range of an adversary, and immediately make an attack against him, I gain a +1 bonus to the attack roll. So I'm going to mark this because I've used that for a short rest. Take a stress. So I want to move within melee range and then attack the goat man.
Done. So you're going to move and attack. We're going to get you, and I think this is why we do this, because I noticed, do you have a movement score on your sheet?
I'm looking, I'm not seeing anything so far. So I don't have a movement score.
It says adversaries and players can move within close range when they get the spotlight. So we'll assume you move within close range.
Well, that's the thing. By using death maneuvers, I can move anywhere within far range. My thought process.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So you've closed the distance then. So you can move and you can attack if you're using that special ability. Yeah. Otherwise,
Yes.
it was going to make you roll to see if you had hope and then allow you to continue for it. So.
Gotcha. No problem. So yeah, I'm going to attack now. Okay. So we'll be rolling strength. Put another one on my attack bonus.
While you're doing that, I will say as a GM, I think this is the part where some experience or practice would be good. If you were, the base game is so stupid, simple, and easy. A little bit of practice doing combat doesn't hurt. So as you go to prep as a GM, you want to play this game, I would say, make sure you set up a couple of like tutorial type combats in between before you throw out your big one, because you're probably going to need some practice with it. Overall, pretty easy. Just a lot of things you can do, I think. So,
yeah, just see the game, see the combat from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Kind of just make sure you know all your tools.
Indeed.
So yeah, I rolled a 22 with fear. So that does hit. Okay, now I have to do damage. All right. We're going to roll that. I don't get any bonuses. Okay, so I rolled a 10. So here's the question. Well, I rolled a 7 plus 3. Well, you know what? I really can't ask that. Well, what I want to know is, do I have to hit him some more for him to go down, or is he already mincemeat? Because
What did you roll to hit?
I rolled a 22 to hit, and
Right.
then I rolled a 10 damage.
10 damage. I'll bring him there. Let's see. I think that might be what is severe again? Trying to remember.
Severe, if it's beyond that major damage threshold, severe is marked 3 HP.
Okay. Yes, with that, he'll go down.
Okay, good to go. So, yeah, Roy, he runs in there, and as he's running, he's bringing the axe over his shoulder, and he's just going to bisect the goat man right in between the horns from top of his head all the way down, turn him into 2 things instead of just 1 thing.
Okay. With it shifting towards fear at that point, we see that the goat man, in his final actions, we kind of see this thing where he's almost like not defending as Roy comes up. We see him open up the side of his coat pocket. He's got something in his hand, and he just kind of does this with his offhand because he's using a cutlass in his hand. And we see him like pat his coat, and then you do this. He tries to raise the cutlass. It doesn't work. You kill him, carve him up. We see him land in a heap, and you hear something and see something moving underneath his coat. And like in the camera view, because we got the GM spotlight, we see that now from his perspective, we see he had a number of those pebbles in his hand, like a whole bunch of them. And we see that he has one of the worms, one of the snow worms. He kept one. And we see him feed the snow worm, like not one of these things, but like a whole handful of them. It's one after the other.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So from Roy's perspective, and Percy, you've just dealt with this threat as these folks all are cut in, cut. Those who aren't cut are kind of making their way, running away. They're afraid of you at this point. There will be no crew threat at this point. However, things have just increased a bit because we start to feel a bit of a rumble underneath from the mess that it was the goat man. And we see it grow. And then all of a sudden, out comes a snow worm. But as it comes out, it gets bigger and bigger, probably stopping at about 14 feet large.
Okay. Well, Who has the spotlight right now? Are you passing to one of us?
That was my spotlight. It's back to you guys. I didn't activate anything yet.
Gotcha. Mark, I have a plan. If you let me, I have a plan.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Unknown to this other pretender worm, we have a champion snow worm on my shoulder, and I have a pocket full of pebbles. So as this thing is growing, I think Roy, he has giant hands, but he'll feed Frog Smasher a number of pebbles and tell him, he'll say to him as he's doing this, I'm sorry, Frog Smasher, you're going to have to get back in the ring. Don't be a monster. You're not a monster. You're a friend. As he's feeding the pebbles to...
Yeah. We see Frog Smasher follow the same growth pattern, ending up almost identical, just slightly less big than this other one, who we don't unfortunately know the name of because it's hard to talk when you're cut in half. But the two of them now, we see Frog Smasher heroically begin to start tangling with this thing, giving you both a moment. You could be on liquors, you could go address the gaps that you have, which is you at least know where Maximilian is and don't necessarily know where the book is yet.
All right. Percy, you're good at finding things. You could find the package. I'll go save Maxie.
Okay. We're going to do that. Then we're going to do a duality roll for the worms because you're both away. We're going to see how that happens. But in the meantime, let's start with some rolls to kind of deal with this. I think for Cyberbro, you get to where he's being held and locked down. Maximilian looks up to you. He's like, oh, excellent. You've come. I hope that wasn't you dying up top. Excellent. This is wonderful. He just keeps talking. You don't have means of unlocking him from his shackles, but he is shackled. You are, however, quite strong.
All right. Is he shackled to the wall or something? Or
well, it's like, you know how they chain them, like, so he's like chained, he's bound by foot and by hands, and the chain's like attached to the ground where there's like a whatever, like a metal loop that they slide the chain under to keep him there.
And gotcha. So in that case, Roy will start going at the chain with his axe. Maxie, watch your hands and your ankles.
Okay.
He'll do that.
We're going to give you an attack roll on this thing with your weapon. You're looking to do, well, we're just looking for a certain amount of threshold here. So.
Okay. Makes sense. First attack roll, I get a 9 with fear.
9 with fear. Well, it's not hard to hit this thing, so give me damage.
Okay.
Yeah, we will note the fear, though. That does mean it goes back to me.
Yep, 4 damage.
4 damage. Okay, 4. First clink doesn't quite do it. You can tell, see the spark. You can see some of it's broken. It's not quite there yet. You're going to have to keep going at it. The spotlight moves away, and I'm going to get one of you to make a duality roll for me. You want hope to succeed here, and you want it to succeed by a lot for Frog Smasher. Otherwise, Frog Smasher might be in a bad situation. Why don't we get Cyberbro to do this round, or this roll here? So the camera pans away. We go back to the top deck as the two giant snow worms are fighting each other.
I got a 14 with fear.
Oh, no. We see that this new unknown challenger is starting to really work on Frog Smasher. We see it hit the wall and spend a fear. It actually caves in a bit of the entryway down below deck as they smash in. So you got a little bit of debris and stuff to work through to get out of here, as they're likely to make a mess of the ship. We cut back then to Mark at that point. Fear is down to 4 again.
With that, Percival is going to begin his investigation. I think he's going to try and find if there's any, like, knocked out guards or knocked out sailors, or probably sailors that are running around, try and interrogate them about where the book is, or if they've seen someone messing with our stuff.
Okay. I will give you advantage on this. You can make a presence as you find,
Right.
You grab one of the guards. You grab one of the frightened guards, not knocked out guards, right? And he's like, you have an opportunity to... Yeah.
Ooh, that's a 10 with hope.
That's good enough. With advantage?
Yeah, with the advantage.
Oh, okay.
It was a low roll.
Just barely, but that's good. So he's like, I think I saw the captain had it. The captain had it. He had it in his quarters.
All right. I suggest you learn how to swim. Quickly. Push him over the side. And then start running for the captain's quarters.
The captain quarters, I believe, would be above deck, right? In most cases.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we'll say that, you don't have to go below deck for this. We cut back to Roy. Roy, you get to keep going on this chain. You do hear this large, loud sound, cries outside. Sounds like something caved in.
That's not good. Do you want me to re-roll the attack roll or just re-roll damage? How do you want this?
Reroll the attack roll because it's big enough. No, never mind. Don't do that. Just give me damage. Just give me damage.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? We're going to move away from that. It's nonsense. You got strength, right? Like you've got something that factors into that. And
Yeah, I got a +1 to my strength. Yeah.
why don't we just get you to roll that as a duality, roll the duality dice instead. And if you achieve a 10 or above, it's going to free at this point.
All right. Cool. Strength. Okay. Part of the cards.
And you feel free to use an experience if you have one that reflects.
Well, I got a 19 with fear, so it's a high roll, but it's with fear.
Okay. Well, crack. Maximilian's free. What are your immediate actions that follow? Maximilian's like, oh, excellent. His hands are still bound. His feet are still bound, but he can move now. He'll move slow with his feet bound.
I throw Maximilian over my shoulder, like fireman style, and I carry him. I'm sorry for the dishonor that I'm showing you right now, Maxie, but we've got to get out of here. Rock Smasher's back on the pebble.
He's like, oh, well, that's quite fine, but carry away, he says. And with that, we cut away once more to the battle with Frog Smasher and the unknown entity. We're going to go ahead, Mark, and get you to roll a duality dice for Frog Smasher versus this new threat.
Come on, Frog Smasher. Oh, that's a 12 unfair.
12 unfair? Okay.
Yep.
We see Frog Smasher fighting back with all its strength, and it's just slightly losing. Just, when I say slightly losing, he is losing. This is a losing battle for Frog Smasher so far, but he's not giving up,
At the heart of a champion.
Yeah. We see one of those Captain America moments where he gets smashed into a bunch of barrels, and then the thing turns away and moves, and then we hear behind it, and it turns, and we see Frog Smashers come back up.
Yeah, he can do
If
this
he
all
had
day.
hands, he'd be, ready. We cut away again then to Percy. Percy, you make it to the captain's quarters. I'm going to say that the captain's quarters are in fact locked, as one would expect.
I'm going to attempt to pick the lock.
Indeed. All right, give me your roll, sir.
Finesse. Would my experience of prankster count towards this?
I'll allow it. Yeah.
Yay. I got a +2 to this. 27 on fear.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like amateur hour. Click. On fear, you said?
Yeah, on fear.
Right. You open the door. You move inside. There's no one in here, of course. You look right on the desk. You see the book, Percy, the same book that you've seen before. You know what you're looking for, and there it is.
Yeah.
If we cut away once more, the Frog Smasher versus the enemy. All right, another duality dice rolled by Cyberbro.
Rock Smasher, more Rock Smasher. 19 with hope.
Oh, after Frog Smasher came back from what looked like certain defeat, we see him just smash with his head. They smash heads, and then he bites it and sends it basically right across the edge of the ship, breaking the wall of the ship a bit as they tumble. Both of them still staying on the deck as they both scramble too. The fight's not over, but it looks like the momentum's changed in Frog Smasher's favor as we cut back to Roy.
All right. Yep. Roy's trying to get back up to the main deck with Maximilian on his shoulders. Yeah.
All right. You managed to make your way right to the entrance, which is caved. How do you want to approach getting through this? Yeah, I mean, you're strong enough where you could try to just fold and bowl your way through, or you could, stop and carefully find your way out. It would just take a little bit longer. Kind of, removing debris as you go, maybe setting Maximilian down.
Roy's a bull in a china shop, so he's just going to try and just forcefully force his way through.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got heavy hands, so he hits pretty hard.
Okay.
So, with one hand on Maximilian's back, just holding him in place, and he's just trying to repeatedly punch his way through the debris. What do you think about that?
I love it.
Okay, cool. So
Okay.
he's got a +2. We're going to roll straight. Okay, 26 with hope.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, you just crash right through. It's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden we see Percy. Percy, was there anything else you wanted to do inside the captain's quarters, or you could to just exit once you got the book?
Just say I grabbed the book. Grab
Okay.
it, and begins to make his way out.
Yeah. All right. So you turn, Percy, and we see as you kind of start to make your way back, all of a sudden the caved in area that was like the entranceway to the below deck just bursts out. And in the cloud of smoke, you see Roy, and over Roy's shoulder is Maximilian. As we cut over to, I guess we cut back to Roy. Roy, Percy, we can kind of go out of rounds. You both see that clearly both Frog Smasher and his enemy are wounded. Both these giant snow worms are still going at it. They've both gotten back up. It looks like they've both taken a fair amount of damage. Do you want to participate, or do you want to let Frog Smasher try to get this one? I mean, he is a champion snow worm.
Roy will look to Percy for guidance on this one. He's torn.
Yeah, I think we'll let Frog Smasher have his moment.
Okay.
Yep.
So the two of you and Maximilian, who's over your shoulder right now, he's like, hey, turn me so I can see.
Who's turn?
We see the two, and this last encounter, if it's over 10 with hope or with fear, we'll end it. And we're going to let who rolled it last?
I think I rolled it last, so it's on a Mark. Plus, I've been rolling a lot of fear, so
All right, Mark,
Yeah.
duality dice. If it's over 10 total,
That's an 11 with fear.
oh no.
Yeah.
We see Frog Smasher do his best against the enemy, but the enemy just barely starts to get the better of him. It looks like it's all but done now. These are creatures, and this other snow worm isn't as trained as Frog Smasher is. And it's going to move in for a kill. Now, I'm going to give you guys a choice here. We can do some kind of cheering roll and leave it to Frog Smasher and see if Frog Smasher turns this around in this final go. So, if you guys were to cheer on Frog Smasher with presence rolls, you might be able to give him advantage on this duality roll.
Yeah, I'd be down for the cheering if Percy's down. Because
Oh, yeah.
if we jump in there, we'll break his warrior spirit.
Now, there's some kind of guidance roll or something in this, isn't there? There's like where you can help an ally. So you make one roll. in there, something like that. I haven't read it in like a week or two.
I'm looking at that GM advice sheet. See if there's anything like that.
You know what we're going to do? I don't want to delay too much on this. We'll just go with an assumed advantage. So we're going to have one of you, the one with the higher inspiration, or the one with the higher, what's it called?
Presence?
Presence, yes. One with the higher presence gets to make the roll, and the other one gives them a +6. It gives them advantage. So who?
I have presence of +1.
I've got +0. It's you, Roy.
All right.
That's over his words.
Presence with advantage. Let's do this. 17 with hope.
Oh, very nice. Okay. So your cheering goes really well. We're going to get Cyberbro to make a duality roll. Now, if it's over 10, whoever gets this is straight up the victor. However, you can give the hope dice a +6 modifier. You won't be able to do it in the mechanics. Just whatever you get for a hope die, add 6 to the total of that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
roll basic duality, add 6 to total or hope. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I rolled a 2 on hope, so that's now 8, and I rolled a 7 on fear. Dude, that's a 15.
15, but hope.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, hope.
Yeah, 15 with hope. Sorry.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
just barely.
Okay, yeah. So you see Frog Smasher as this thing moves in. You cheer on Frog Smasher. You see this thing go in for the kill because it's not playing games. Frog Smasher at the last moment smacks it back with the side of its head. It reels back. Frog Smasher then hits it again. It breaks through a part of the wall of the border. What do you call it? The edge of the ship. Forgive me. I'm clearly challenged with anything nautical. Then it kind of climbs back to its feet, to its upright once more, and Frog Smasher hits it a third time. And you see this thing wobble, and then down, I'm spending a fear. It's falling towards you guys.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Dodge out the way.
You're
God, that's why, yeah.
Okay. Just give me some finesse rolls, I suppose.
Agility?
Finesse.
Agility, is that the appropriate one?
Yeah.
What's the one for
Agility,
reacting?
dodge.
Yeah.
Could I use cat-like reflexes?
Yes. Yeah.
+2 bonus.
Okay.
Any bonuses for my...
I rolled a 6 with hope.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, 17 with fear.
Okay. Percy, no problem getting away. Roy, my friend, I think you have a choice. Either you or Maximilian's gonna take this thing falling on it.
He'll take it.
Oh no,
Percival will take it.
Percival, you're good. It's for Roy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Percival, you have no problem getting away from this thing. Roy rolled a 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Roy will throw Maxie out of the way and take the hit from the worm.
Okay. So I'm just gonna roll 11 damage.
All right. That's in my major damage area. So I'm going to take it down by 1 damage threshold by spinning an armor slot. So I only take 1 damage.
Okay. And so you're able to push this thing aside. We watch Frog Smasher, even though he has this moment of victory, and then out of just pure exhaustion, he collapses. And it's about that time, unless you guys have something else, I think about that time he starts to shrink and the other one starts to shrink as well. And with that, we're going to go to break. We're back in 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to do kind of an earmark in case we ever want to get back to this at some point. We're going to find out what that book was. And then we'll deal with returning it in or turning it in. And then we'll maybe spend a few minutes telling the crew or anyone that's watching, the audience, what we thought about Daggerheart in our first time playing. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just maybe 3 minutes, and we'll close out within the hour. Thanks for watching. See you soon. We're back, folks. Welcome to Daggerheart. If you're just stopping in, we're going to go ahead and start with maybe an understanding of what you all want to do. You have the prize. Maybe, we're going to start with a little bit of banter. Roy, you see that, Percy has the prize. He's told you he has a prize. You see the prize is, in fact, a book. Maximilian's with you all at this point. I'm assuming you've deshackled him in whatever means possible. Probably Percy was able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you rat him out, Roy? Do you rat Percy out for the book? Does it really matter?
No, Roy doesn't rat Percy out. That's not what a friend does. And Maxie's so stuffy. His rules are that he can be a little stuffy. So no, Roy wouldn't rat Percy.
And he tends to harp on Percy, right? So
yeah.
All right. So we go back to, what do you all want to do? You know that this is where you were supposed to hand the cargo off. Are you going to put the book back inside?
Back in the crate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark, for some reason your camera's a little out of focus. Just letting you know, too.
Oh.
Oh, good. Just thought I'd note it for you.
Just gonna adjust. It's gonna.
There we go. That worked. Yep. All right. So you know the destination for this one is a manor that sits atop the hill just outside the port. You can see it as you kind of make your way in. It's very clearly like a very wealthy noble's house of some sort. Assuming you are going to go right there, we'll say it's kind of like evening as you make your way to this house. You see...
Step inside the gates.
Yeah. You'll be escorted right, for the sake of time, you'll be escorted right in to meet this manor owner, so to speak. Out he comes, and you see that he has a cane. He looks hunchback, sort of frail looking, and it's hard to figure out what species he is exactly. We're going to give you both a knowledge test to see what you can ascertain here.
Okay. I rolled a 6 with fear.
Okay.
That sounds about right. I managed to get a 14 with fear.
Frisch troll.
Okay. 14 with fear. Percy, you see aspects of him that look quite typical for a typical man. However, you see mixtures of like earth and air amongst his features. You know that there are basically species that are linked most closely to earth elementals and air elementals. He seems to be some disfigured mixture of all of them.
Interesting.
Good day, he says. I see you've made it with my cargo. Now, normally I think Maximilian would talk, but it doesn't make sense on the GM. So we'll say that for whatever reason, Maximilian is not.
It's safe and sound.
Excellent.
There you
Oh, he seems to be way too happy when you hand this box over to him. And he opens it up. Actually, it looks like it weighs 100 pounds. It's not that heavy, Percy. But when he grabs it, he's got like Mr. Burns strength as it like almost like moves in his hands.
Like a twig.
Yeah. And we see him walk over very slowly to his table, put the box down, and he opens it up. And his eyes light up. You see this look of just absolute excitement as he sort of pets the book inside and looks back to the two of you. You've all done me a very big favor. I know it's just your job, but I wanted to thank you very much for this.
Point of order, it wasn't a favor. We were hired to do this. Maxie's indisposed right now, but he says it's important that we get paid once we deliver things. And Roy will hold his large hand out and put a finger down to his palm and just be like, money, please?
Yes. He sort of claps his hands and one of the servants comes over. You know, if he's Mr. Burns, this is, what's his name? The servant.
Smithers.
Smithers, yeah. We see him come over and just a skinny little nerd of a man. He says, here you are, as promised. This is Master Maynock's offering. You can see that it is like 2 times the amount that the payment was supposed to be.
Did we forget another box?
It's like, great. More
Do you
money.
say anything? Roy's about to rat that out or call it out. Percy, do you stop him at all?
No. Yeah, I think you just go, that is the good amount. Thank you for your payment.
All right then, sir.
Thank you for your time. We watch as the 3 exit in this montage, and we cut back to the man spending the rest of our fear for a GM montage. We watch this man. He puts on some kind of robe, and he cuts his wrist over the book, and he begins to speak in words old and ancient and arcane. We watch as the other servants, including his very number 1 servant that even handles money, all of a sudden just sort of like, we see them all, their chests sort of like puff out, their heads back, their heads like twist and break, their necks twist and break, and we see them all fall lifeless to the ground. We see this figure sort of go from its hunchback state to upright, and then bigger and taller until he's not quite the size of Roy as a giant, but he would be a very tall man now. We see still those features of the earth and air golem upon him. We cut away now to a figure in a similar robe, his new height. We see him enter a temple nearby. And as we see from the eyes of Roy, Percy, and Maximilian, as they're back on the water now, making their way back to their maybe on their next, because they probably would have picked up another delivery job right here in the port of Pavelport. From the water, you feel the tremor in the ground, and you can see almost like the ground breaking in the distance. You see a mountainside as it almost begins to shake. You wonder, is this some sort of volcano, some sort of eruption? We cut back to the figure. He's reached a temple, and within the temple, he's begun to chant some kind of arcane magic. And we watch more and more of this temple leave the mountainside and take to the air. And we see it move up almost like a floating continent as it reaches about 100 feet in the air and simply stops there. And with that, That'll be our potentially earmark forever or earmark for whatever the hell we want to do with a GM Roulette of Daggerheart for the next time. All right. So, yes, I'm Bob. I ran this game. Mark ran game 2. Cyberbro kicked us off with game 1. Maybe we'll just take a moment and talk freely, not like in some kind of order. What do we think about Daggerheart for our first experiment with it?
It's a very nice rules light system. Like there's, not a lot to it, so it's easily intuitive to get. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cyberbro?
I think that there's a lot of room for customization, even within the same like class of character. I don't think you're just automatically going to pick the same subclasses, and you have a lot of room to input your own interpretation on the character just from the experiences and that type of stuff. So I like it from a character building perspective, definitely.
Yeah, I can see a lot of features for this. I would definitely want a more concrete setting. Like I would definitely homebrew something. I think there is kind of one. I would want to do something even more. Yeah. Like it feels like there's room to, like I was talking to Monty Glue from Unexpectables about this, and they were talking about you could even do something in like space. Like it seems like a very open system. You could almost do whatever you want with it, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to take that and then attach it to a setting where everything felt like it was connected, made sense. What do you guys think for those that are coming from D&D? What do you think? How do you think this fits for those players? Like, what do you think? What would you recommend? Like, how do you think most of those players would transition to this sort of play?
I think they wouldn't have too much of a problem. Oh, sorry, Mark. I don't think
No,
they
you
have
go
too much
ahead.
of a problem. A lot of the ancestries are very similar to what you find in D&D. The system is rules light, so I don't think they have too much of an issue transitioning from D&D 5e to this.
Ultimately, in my perspective, I think it depends what draws you to D&D. Like if you're far more interested in like just the role play aspect of things and not so much interested in rules or builds or, strategy, that kind of stuff, I think this is certainly a game that kind of, what would be the word, distills those elements into something very simple and easy to run. I think if you're a fan of Critical Role and how Critical Role does stuff, you'll probably love the system a lot. If you're more interested in like the tactical side of D&D and more interested in like building scenarios and combats and things like that, I think you're probably not going to find what you're looking for in this. Again, this one is very much just about, role playing and describing and having fun and, not really worrying about the nitty gritty of things or details.
Yeah, I do like that they at least offer like a bit of an olive branch there. Like if you are a big fan of hexes, there's nothing stopping you from playing in hexes because there's a movement by feet and there's different things you can and can't do by feet. So Theater of the Mind seems to be like D&D seems to be hex first, Theater of the Mind optional. This seems to be Theater of the Mind first, hex optional. And I guarantee Critical Role is probably going to run it with a map because they like the maps and minis and stuff. So they're probably going to bring out the battle maps, I think. What about just taking this to the other from the other lens? So we talked about the big game, the meaty D&D. What about for those coming from like Powered by the Apocalypse? Like, what do you think their transition would be like to this?
Much easier. This is very much in the style of Powered by the Apocalypse. It's all around moves and abilities, and you have like a little pool of things you can use. In fact, I dare say they're probably used Powered by Apocalypse as a skeleton for the design of how things were set out.
Yeah, maybe.
I do like it better than the skeleton of Powered by the Apocalypse. Like the skeleton of Powered by the Apocalypse is probably my least favorite part. The idea that the idea that the GM needs moves to do things, the players need moves to do things, and that the roll is the one that kills you the most, where you're like, where you're kind of failing or partially failing with 2/3 of the time. I feel like with this, like it's pretty easy to succeed at almost everything. Everything that's not hard, you're succeeding rather easy. What you're not succeeding at, or you're succeeding, but you might have fear. And to me, fear is different than partially succeeding. To me, fear is something all goes wrong. It gives the GM the narrative ability to go, now it's my turn, or my privilege. You played with lots with John Wick. My privilege to say what goes wrong. And I do like that better than Powered by the Apocalypse. So I have to say, if I were to choose one of the two to run, I'd choose this over like Dungeon World or something.
Yeah. It's.
I think. Oh God.
No, I was gonna say, as far as the key thing for me was just the role playing aspect, and I think the system really supports that. And if you're looking for a system where you're, like we said earlier, the role play forward, then this will be good for you, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Totally
I think very
agree.
much this is a great system to start off with. If this is your first role-playing system, I think that's honestly a great place to start, especially for GMing. It kind of, gives you enough to go off of, but not too much that it'll overwhelm you. Like even like each of us, we're easily able to, for like a single session, prepare the stuff we needed as a game master. Pretty simple. The system's not too difficult to get your head around.
And we're all of us are kind of improv-y. So, I don't know about you guys, but I barely, once I had an idea of what was likely to happen, the rest I just left open. Because if I make too much of a map for myself, it's almost like ruins for me. Like I'll get that stuck in my head. I like to see what the players are going to do and respond to it. So like, I didn't think about a friggin' snow worm fight as the big outcome. That was actually, I thought you guys would be fighting a big snow worm. It was actually fun to see it be like, it ended where it started with Frog Smasher. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I concur with you 100% as far as the leaving the room for the chaos factor that you're going to get from players, and the improv of it is always a good idea once you feel sufficiently comfortable with what you're going to present.
I also feel like this might be more intuitive than both those games you compared it to in the what can I do category. Because it's like, you pretty much feel like you can try anything, and then it's just what bonuses are you adding to the thing you're trying on. Right? Like,
yeah.
It's kind of
the experiences leave that open for you. Like when we went through a character creation, we made those experiences. It leaves you open to try whatever that fits within your character. So yeah, I agree.
It does remind me of indie games. Like I remember playing a game called The Shotgun Diaries. I think it was John Wick's game. And like after that, you write a journal it was a zombie survivor. So each time you survive, you write in the journal, and then you'd underline one thing from the journal that you now had as like an experience. And then like if that came up again, if you picked a lock in that session and you wrote a journal and you underlined that, you are now proficient in that and you got to roll. So I think it's doing what indie games have been doing in a good way. When I say that, I think everything's been done before. So I don't hold that against Daggerheart. I think a good game is like a good DJ. You're mixing together the best parts so it flows well, right? Like,
definitely.
Yeah, it's been a hobby for 40 years. Probably most things have been tried. It's about mixing the right ingredients so it doesn't taste bad. But anything else from you guys before we close? Anything else you want to say before we do shout outs? I guess we should probably shout out too.
I think if I played again, I'd be interested in seeing like the spell casting side of it. First time playing, wanted to do like a bruiser or brawler, but kind of getting more into the spell casting side of it. I don't think it's as complex as D&D, where we're doing geometry in our heads. But it'll be interesting to see that. And character progression, like leveling up, how is that going to work? Do you feel sufficiently powerful after a couple of levels, or is it more along a low power type of deal? Those are my thoughts.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd be curious as to what a high level play would look like. Because as it is now, it seems quite simple. You only have like 3 moves. And yeah, I would be interested to see what things look like at higher level. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me a bit of too? I felt pretty comfortable with running it because of Marvel Heroic Role Playing, which is Cortex, and it uses a lot of like stress mechanics. So there's ways you can get stress out of the match that have less to do with taking hits. I think you could really play on stress once you get used to it, applying like more fear situations to, you do the kind of like we did for Percy there. Yeah, you get off the ship successfully, but you're suffering a stress in doing so, right?
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and do outros, folks. I know we're past the hour here, so why don't we start with Cyberbro?
All right. So, hey, I'm Cyberbro. I played Roy Three Eyes, and then I GM'd the first session there. But if you want to see more of me, I appear on various shows on Bob's and Mark's channel. Tuesday nights, I'm playing the Pendragon there with the Gathering of Branches. And if you go into the backlog, you'll see where I started with the Telia's Legacy on Fridays. You'll be seeing more of me. I'm starting my own channel up and starting my own game here in October. It's going to be a Rune Quest, and you'll see a couple of familiar faces in that. So please be on the lookout.
Will that be hosted on Cyberstation?
Yes, that will be hosted on Super Cyberstation. That's the brand right now. So Super Cyberstation, that's where it'll be hosted at.
All right, we'll get a shout out to that before we raid out, but we'll go to Mark first.
Hello, I'm Mark, aka the Cat's Meow, and you can catch me on the Cat's Meow Show, my own channel, where I run a bunch of Vampire the Masquerade games and World of Darkness adjacent. You can also find me on Bob's channel in a number of different games, including one of the main flagship series, Pendragon, the Salisbury Gang, as we try and survive danger and other bad things. But you can find me on my channel where I'm currently running Orphaned Blood, Vampire the Masquerade series about a bunch of caitiff trying to survive being sired and then abandoned in this world of monsters. And yes, I will also have a new series that'll be coming up very soon that involves a group of hunters in the historical setting of Renaissance Italy. So stay tuned for that. You'll get to experience history as we see the rise and fall of the Borgia, as it were.
When do they find that? What time slot do they find that in? Mark?
They will find that actually before the Pendragon game that I'm in with Bob, about 2.5 hours beforehand.
Yeah, so that would be 5 o'clock Pacific time or 8 o'clock Eastern on Sundays.
Yes, on Sundays. And you'll be able to join us for that. And then immediately after, you can join us for some Pendragon fun. So moving from one point of history to a period of history even further back.
Indeed. Both involving fictional pieces of that. So you gotta love it. Yeah.
Both are Assassin's Creed settings when you think about it.
Right?
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Bob. We do a whole bunch of things here. We're actually expanding. So you'll see a lot of Pendragon in our backlog, and the game's beautiful, and we're going to be punching through that for a good another 2 years at the rate we're going, maybe 3. So if I have anything to do about it, we'll end by 3 no matter what. But yeah, we got a long time left in that game. We're going from the period of the rise of King Uther Pendragon to the death of Arthur. And we play, as Mark mentioned, on Sundays in Salisbury, Tuesdays in Summerlin Enchantment, and Fridays we're doing Telia's Legacy, which is over in Wales rather than in England proper. In addition to that, we are expanding. So Daggerheart was the beginning of it. I might have mentioned that we're doing Delta Green, but that unfortunately has been canceled due to the GM not being able to attend. No big deal, because on those same dates, we have a new show. It will be pre-recorded, but we have a vampire show with Matthew Dawkins, a gentleman gamer, as a storyteller. The players will be Zach, who plays the House of Newton on this channel, and he plays the vampires on Mark's channel as well. We have Ree from Mortal Rolls, who will be playing as well. Myself, of course, and Lore by Night. So if you're familiar with him, he is a lore guru for his podcast that you can find on YouTube in Vampire the Masquerade and World of Darkness in general. So stay tuned on the 11th. You'll be seeing that premiere here, and it's going to run 3 weeks in a row. Pretty excited about that one. And we're going to be doing more of those premiere things. We're bringing in some big GMs. I do a lot of GMing, so I'm not necessarily looking to GM all the time. I'm just looking at this point to expand and produce what we do on the show and see a lot more of what we're doing here. So, yes. What was the oh no? Anyways, I think that's everything. There might be some other pieces, but stay tuned for lots of cool new series that we'll be seeing on these Saturdays. Thanks so much for watching, folks. And we're going to raid out, so stick around while we do so.